All right, good evening, everybody. We'll reconvene from closed session. City Attorney announcements tonight.
Yes, there are no announcements out of closed session this evening.
Okay, very good. With that, we will adjourn our special meeting, and we'll prepare for the regular meeting. And Councilwoman McLean, you have the invocation this evening.
I do indeed, and it's going to be very short, but I think very poignant. This is a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. "We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools." And I have a photo here. I don't know if you can see it at all. It's of a little black child and a little white child hugging one another, obviously very at peace with one another and the color of their skin. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. With that, we will call the meeting to order. City Clerk, we have a roll call, please.
Councilwoman McLean?
Here.
Councilmember Miranda?
Here.
Mayor Gibbs?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Smythe? Councilmember West?
Here.
All right, very good. Councilwoman McLean, would you mind leading us in the flag salute tonight?
It would be my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, very good. Thank you, everybody. With that, we'll move on to our executive meeting. I'll ask council tonight if there's any questions on any of the items on our agenda.
I would just like to, I have some comments and questions on several of the policy items. I think there's a few of those, so.
Policy items.
Yes.
Let's see here.
Would you like?
Yeah, do you have
like me to tell you
numbers?
specifically?
The numbers
Yeah,
would be
right,
great,
right.
just so I have, make sure I have them noted in case they line up with any public comment tonight.
Okay. It was,
I think number 8 was council policies on the consent calendar tonight.
yes, but a couple of those have been answered for me already. So it would be 8F.
8F.
Oh, 8K.
That's one. How about I'll pull number 8 then, and then when we get to the specific items you want to discuss with staff, we can discuss it when we get to that item.
Okay.
I think it's all under number 8, correct?
Agenda item number 14.
And number 14.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
And 14A.
Number 14. Number 8, number 14. Okay. City Clerk, do we have any speakers on any of the consent items?
Yes, Mayor, we have speaker cards for items 7, 8, and 14.
7, 8, and 14. Very good. With that, I'll ask for a motion from the council to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, hearing no objection, so ordered. We'll now move on to awards and recognitions this evening. The first one we have tonight is the Hart High School Band Recognition. Councilwoman West.
Delighted. Tonight, the city of Santa Clarita is extremely proud to recognize a group of students who continue to excel their passion. Congratulations to the Hart High School Regiment Marching Band and Color Guard for placing first place and bringing home the gold in the 2022 Southern California School Band and Orchestra Association Division 4A Championships. In November, this team performed their show entitled Embellished, which included 4 movements that combine music, visual art, and athleticism. Hart Regiment competed against 11 other Southern California high schools. This team has gone undefeated throughout the season leading up to the championships. This is the 15th time that Hart Regiment has won the State Marching Band Championship, and the team has won more championships than any other band in the state. Please join me in congratulating the entire Hart Regiment team, including their students and instructors, for their accomplishment. And I'd like to invite them all to come up to the dais to take a photo and accept their award.
Keep fighting your way, we'll pile all in.
Ready, 1, 2, 3.
Just want to take a moment to thank you for having us and recognizing the hard work that these students have done. The students that are here represent my leadership team, and without them, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. They put in extra hours, they work on their skills above and beyond, and they really are the glue that puts our regiment together. You know, music is alive in our community. We work really hard to fundraise and do all the things that we need to do, but because of the support of our community all of these years is the reason why we've been able to have 14 championships. So we thank you for that support that we've had over the years. So keep supporting us, and we're really excited about recent Proposition 28 that passed in the state that will bring even more funding to our programs. So again, thank you to all my wonderful students and all the support of my family and all the parents of the regiment. The parents work so hard to make this happen for us. So again, thank you so much for recognizing the hard work today. Thank you.
Bill, they had you trapped in there. You weren't going anywhere. Okay, thank you, everybody. We'll move on to the second recognition tonight. I have the honor for our proclamation for Restaurant Week. The City of Santa Clarita is committed to supporting small business owners because they are the lifeblood of our local economy. From the city's Shop Local campaign to Small Business Saturday and other business-focused events, the city encourages residents to frequent Santa Clarita local businesses, which fosters job growth and enhances our quality of life. This year, local nonprofit Feed SCV is organizing the inaugural SCV Restaurant Week. Feed SCV is dedicated to making sure that every family in the Santa Clarita Valley has access to a healthy meal every day. With SCV Restaurant Week, Feed SCV and local restaurants are teaming up to showcase the dynamic food scene that is alive and well here in Santa Clarita. SCV Restaurant Week will take place from February 5th through February 10th. Participating restaurants, as well as coffee shops, wineries, and more, will offer special menu items during that week in addition to their regular menu. Residents do not need to purchase a ticket. Just purchase a meal from a participating restaurant, and $1 for every Restaurant Week meal sold will be donated back to Feed SCV. Residents can visit scvrestaurantweek.com for a list of all the participating restaurants, and I believe we've topped 30 and probably have more coming as well. This event is a wonderful way for residents to not only show their support for the great chefs and restaurateurs in Santa Clarita, but also support a local nonprofit making a difference in our neighbors' lives. And so the City of Santa Clarita is proud to proclaim February 5th through 10th, 2023 as SCV Restaurant Week in the City of Santa Clarita. And I'd like to invite up Todd Wilson, President of Feed SCV, as well as Shauna Kreiner and Deidre Meacham to the dais to receive this proclamation and take a photo.
The whole board's up here.
Got them all up. So here, you guys, we can.
Squeeze it. No, you can't.
Made it.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
There you are, sir.
Are participating, and even the restaurants who haven't yet, and they will, participating are really special to us. As a nonprofit, we rely on the support of others to fulfill our mission, and the restaurants have been a tremendous partner to us in supporting us. They give us guidance when we teach others how to cook and how to feed themselves. They provide support and donations of money, of time, of supplies when we actually get it out there and feed others. So Restaurant Week for us is a way to give back, and we encourage everyone to get out there, find these great restaurants, as the mayor said on our website, scvrestaurantweek.com. Go out and show your support and help a local business. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
There it is.
Whichever way.
This way. Either way. Take your risk.
Find the path. Just get off the stage. Thank you.
Okay, our next recognition, I believe, is for Judith Cassis.
Cassis.
Cassis, thank you. Judith Cassis. Councilmember Miranda.
I've known Judith Cassis going on 20 years now. First met her when she was a publisher with her husband, Lee Cadena, of Tidbits magazine here in Santa Clarita. A lot of people don't remember Tidbits magazine, but it was a cool little weekly paper that had a lot of fun built into it. Tonight, I'd like to recognize our longtime and former resident of Santa Clarita for her dedication to her craft and her support for the senior population here in our valley. For more than 2 decades, Judith Cassis, who's a book coach and creative writing teacher, has been a fixture at the SCV Senior Center. Back in 2000, she was leading weekly support groups at the Senior Center, where she was approached to spearhead a new creative writing class. For those of you who think you know what writing is all about, I might add there's a lot that goes into it that even I didn't think went into it, and Judith was very helpful to me in getting me to know and understand what good writing is all about, and I appreciate that, and I will always thank you for that. Her first class consisted of 7 individuals who wanted to nurture their passion for writing and hopefully see their names in print. Over the years, this weekly class evolved to become the Golden Pen Writers Guild. I love that name, Golden Pen Writers Guild, which began publishing the group's anthologies in 2003. The Golden Pen Writers Guild quickly became popular in the community because it gave seniors an avenue to accomplish their dream of being published authors. And now, some 23 years later, nearly 70 members have been part of the Writers Guild, while countless more have been inspired by Judith to write it down. And that includes me. On behalf of the City of Santa Clarita, it is my honor to recognize Judith Cassis for 22 years at the helm of the Golden Pen Writers Guild and wish her continued success in her career as a book coach. Judith, would you please come join us on the dais and let us take a picture with you and let you say a few words if you don't mind.
Judith, can I say a few words?
Sure. Thank you so much.
I know you're a writer, but there's a limit to the time you can
Yeah.
say.
Knee me in the back. Thank you so much to the City of Santa Clarita, to our leadership here, and to people who've taken the time to come to the City Council meetings. I've been to several over the years, fighting for Henry Mayo and, you know, doing different things, supporting different issues. I really appreciate the recognition. My passion is working with writers. The one day that someone at the Senior Center came up to me, she was in her 80s, I don't remember exactly, but in her 80s, and she said to me, "I missed the boat. I've always wanted to write a book, and I've missed my chance." And I said, "No, you haven't." And that's when we started writing anthologies. The Golden Pen Writers Guild, that Bill introduced you to, has published 9 anthologies. We just published our 9th. And several people who thought that they would never have the chance to see their names in print or have anybody read their work had the opportunity over these years since 2003. And that means more to me than any other success I have had professionally, is to be able to assist people in moving down the road and publishing their work. Because as I have, sorry, I've always said the world is waiting for your words, and I mean that. If you have it on your heart to write a book, know that that is something that you can do, and all you need to do is take the first step and find the people and the processes that are going to help you do that. And so thank you so much to our City of Santa Clarita for this honor.
Congratulations. Thank you.
No, I won't.
I might add, Mayor, that Judith has either ghostwritten or helped to authors who have ended up having bestsellers. It's not just a local Yoko writing class, but she produces some really quality stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't make the bestsellers list, but okay, we'll work on that.
Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you, Judith. Congratulations. And finally, our last recognition tonight, Councilwoman McLean, I have the honor of congratulating former Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commissioner Diana Boone. Marcia.
Thank you. Well, this is a little bittersweet because Diana has been my planning commissioner for the past 9.5 years, and we're going to miss you very, very much. But it is my honor to recognize you tonight, not only as a commissioner, but a very close friend. You have been instrumental in the development of our city's parks, recreation, and community services for the past 24 years. Diana was one of the first recreation employees hired by the newly incorporated city of Santa Clarita back in 1989 and spent the rest of her career dedicated to bettering the lives of our residents. During her time as a city employee, Diana worked in nearly every division of our Recreation and Community Services Department and also spent time in graffiti removal, transit, and events. Diana retired from the city in 2009, but continued to utilize her knowledge and expertise as a commissioner on the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission as my appointee. Throughout the past 12 years, Diana has been integral in the creation of new parks and specifically inclusive programming, including adaptive swim programs and inclusive play areas. The most recent being the grand opening of the West Creek Inclusive Park. The city is incredibly grateful. We are all incredibly grateful for the hard work and years of dedication that Diana has provided to our community and the lasting positive impact she has made on our residents and their quality of life. Please join me in welcoming Diana up for a photo, and you're welcome to bring your family up if you wish to do that, to have them included in the photo as well. We also have a gift for you that was put together by our staff as a commemorative gift for all of the openings and different activities, and a couple of photos of you. So hopefully you will enjoy that.
I will.
Would you like to say something?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. My friend. I am so grateful to have worked.
Wait.
Lo siento mucho.
Thank you. I have this.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Now,
Go ahead.
my fault, I shouldn't have.
I've been involved with the city for 32 years now, and it's been such a pleasure to use the positions that I've had to make a difference in the lives of people, because that is my passion. And what I'm really grateful for, I worked for another city before this one, and what I found here was the support for innovation and for making a difference in the lives of people who need a leg up. And the city council here, and Ken and Frank and Janine, all have such great leadership in fostering innovation. And I appreciate all of your support and all the citizens that I worked with. So many citizens that I got to work with, the best cream of the crop. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate my friends Dave and Debbie coming tonight, and my mom, Pat.
Yeah, Mom too, I guess.
You're just next in line. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, we'll move on to public participation. This time has been set aside for the public to address the City Council on items not on the agenda. The City Council, thank you, Mayor. The City Council will not act upon these items at this meeting other than to review or to provide direction to staff. I'll call up the first three names this evening. First, we have Mr. Jeffrey Malik, followed by Elaine, followed by Marisol Espinoza.
So unfortunately, oh, the mic is on now. So happy Lunar New Year to everyone that celebrates. Unfortunately, it was only 2 days ago, but it's not on the agenda, so I don't understand how, sometimes saying something goes a long way. So if you want to preach diversity and quote things by the great Dr. King, perhaps you should lead as he did. I'm going to hold some people accountable tonight. Mr. Miranda, I know we became friends through the trail here, but I'm going to read an email conversation that we had. Dear Jeff, thank you for your email. As you know, the council is on hiatus until August 23rd. On that date, I will be happy to discuss your email with our city attorney to learn what can and cannot be done under our Constitution. I have read that some states and municipalities have been able to ban the Confederate flag on public grounds, and I will be happy to pursue that in Santa Clarita. Sincerely, Bill Miranda, City Council Member. That was July 13th, and nothing since. So time to hold ourselves accountable and not asking you to make a decision, just asking you to put it on the agenda for the public to speak, and you hear both sides, and then you make the best decision amongst yourselves. Also to hold accountable, Councilmember McLean, when we were in the campaign trail, maybe it was because of the audience or whatnot, but we have it on recording that you said, quote, I would be happy to get rid of all hate symbols in Santa Clarita. But yet, here we are again. I don't know if that seems of a surprise to you, but we can gladly provide you the recording. Lastly, I'd just like to read something that was provided through an organization in our community, and I think it's important that we all hear these words. So many folks talk about how they're being forced to accept things that go against their beliefs. You're not being forced to accept them. If you have a problem with people of color, with gay marriage, with trans people, with immigrants, with women of any race, etc., then you're still welcome to feel however you want to feel about those people. You're just not allowed to make their lives harder because of your feelings. You're not allowed to turn their daily lives into a battleground. No one is forcing you to accept a single thing. You're just not being allowed to terrorize people. So think about those words, and why can't we get on the agenda an item to ban all hate symbols? Everybody keeps saying, oh, we don't see them anywhere. Okay, if you don't see them anywhere, then there should be no problem with having a ban, an ordinance placed on a ban of all these symbols. Should be easy then. Thank you.
Next up, we have Elaine, followed by Marisol Espinoza, followed by Ash Mahoney.
Okay, I have to make this quick. I have to go see Tom Cruise and go to his pity party with him. A couple of questions. One, only because I heard a show Sunday talking about child trafficking, especially, as opposed to just human trafficking. And we have a lot of, I know sex offenders have to register, but it really makes me a little nervous that everything is done for children. You have the new park, you have everything. Are there studies done how many sex offenders are within that area and how safe the parks are? And the other thing is, when do the adults get something? I mean, you seem to be very forthcoming with things for children, such as the playground, but we can't even get any kind of cultural center, anything like that up here. I mean, why can't we get a theater that's a real theater where maybe not equity, but at least equity waiver, a concert hall, since they're all in the arts, maybe another museum, something where we can start bringing more culture to Santa Clarita, because there's really not a lot for adults, and there's really nothing to do. And which brings me to the next part, which is everything seems to be the same. I mean, we have the same arts council, all the people on it who really don't care about anything. Maybe one or two supported the film festival, which was up here. But then there's nothing to do afterwards. It's like at 10 o'clock we were gonna go get pizza and nothing's open. So I just wish that you would look at things for adults and not just children, because I don't even know what studies are being done about them. The other thing is there a program, because it was on the internet, and of course, if it's on the internet, it's real, but that they're doing grants for new roofs and stuff, and everywhere I contacted said that wasn't true. So I don't know if anything's coming through the city, if it's state or federal. And lastly, I think you should change the slogan of you've got a friend at City Hall to Groundhog's Day, because nothing ever changes. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Marisol, followed by Ash Mahoney, followed by Diane Zimmerman. Hi, Marisol.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Gibbs, City Council, and city staff, residents of Santa Clarita. My name is Marisol Espinoza. I'm a public affairs manager for SoCal Gas, and I'm just here to share some information on your winter gas bills. We're trying to reach out to all of our customers that natural gas prices are going to be even higher than usual this January due to several unprecedented factors beyond our control. You're probably already receiving your bills and seeing that they are higher compared to 1 year ago. And these are as a result of historically high natural gas prices in the western United States. SoCal Gas does not set the price for natural gas. It's determined by national and regional markets. We buy that gas on behalf of our customers, and the cost of buying is billed directly to customers with no markup. So we don't make a profit from gas prices going up. And according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, there are a number of factors contributing to your higher natural gas commodity prices. Widespread below normal temperatures on much of the West Coast, including Washington and Oregon. High natural gas demand for heating by customers in areas with below normal temperatures. Reduced natural gas supplies to the West Coast from Canada and the Rocky Mountains. And reduced interstate pipeline capacity to the West Coast because of pipeline maintenance activities in West Texas, as well as low natural gas storage levels on the West Coast. We have opportunities for customers to reduce your energy bills, and we encourage you to lower your thermostat 3 to 5 degrees if your health permits. Install proper caulking and weather stripping, which could save 10 to 15% on heating and cooling bills. washing your clothes in cold water, reducing the temperature on your water heater, and limiting the use of non-essential natural gas appliances such as spas, pool heaters, and fireplaces. We also have various customer programs for income qualified customers. We've also contributed to our gas assistance fund, where customers can sign up for one-time grant or assistance if they are qualified. And you can find more information at socalgas.com/managed higher bills, as well as socalgas.com/assistance. Again, we understand that this, higher prices can be a shock to many customers, so we're just here to simply share information and let the residents know that there are opportunities for assistance through socalgas.com. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Marisol. Okay, next we have Ash Mahoney, followed by Diane Zimmerman, followed by Cindy Jostin.
Hello, members of the council. As a working college student, my schedule has unfortunately barred me from coming to many of these meetings before, but I'm glad to be here now. I have, however, had plenty of time to read the various literature published by the city, such as a few issues of the Seasons magazine and this year's city budget. I was absolutely thrilled to read about the city's commitment to making our streets more accessible for walking and biking, as well as seeing that principle put in action with promotions like Bike to Work Day and Share the Road, as well as projects on the budget to create more non-motorized trails, such as the Buchan Canyon to Central Park Trail, the Class 1 bike trail on Railroad Avenue, and the New Hall area bicycle facilities. All that said, I'd like to offer an urgent suggestion for where to put our next bike trail, along Sierra Highway on the way to the College of the Canyons Canyon Country campus. Currently, as I'm sure many of us know, Sierra Highway and the few miles surrounding that Canyon Country campus is one of the most inhospitable roads in Santa Clarita, and my friend and I actually recently took a bunch of pictures of it, which we plan to submit through the Resident Service Center, I think it's called. While we have many wonderful trails that take us to Sierra Highway, we are on our own once we get there and are subjected to massive potholes, sidewalks that start and end every few meters, long stretches of dirt, which are sometimes littered with hazards like broken glass and razor blades, narrow, unmaintained strips of rough asphalt labeled bike lanes, and a complete lack of shade for the summer. I am personally familiar with the hazards of this road. I have cycled to my job at the Canyon Country campus from my home near the Saugus racetrack only once, and I will not be doing it again anytime soon because that first time completely shredded my tires, costing me about $60 in repairs. With the recent massive expansion of the Canyon Country campus, there are many people who would have the means and the reason to bike there if only the road were were safer and more inviting, rather than actively repelling riders with its rough terrain. I would like the City Council and the departments involved with road maintenance and bike trails to make it a priority to do something about this road approaching the Canyon Country campus, preferably fixing up the existing asphalt as soon as possible just to get things rolling while designing a proper bike trail in the meantime. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ash. So next we have Diane Zimmerman, followed by Cindy Jostin, followed by Nancy.
Hello. A letter printed in the Signal January 19, 2023 by Kevin Kuykendall, retired LA County Sheriff's Commander. It's not a Blue Lives Matter flag. I am writing in response to several recent controversies regarding the thin blue line flag. For those not involved in law enforcement, the thin blue line flag is not a Blue Lives Matter flag. People attempting to make the thin blue line flag out of some sort of anti-Black Lives Matter images are at best uneducated and at worst attempting to stamp out any visible sign of support for law enforcement. The thin blue line is the concept that a small group of law enforcers stand between law-abiding people and those who would victimize them, in much the same way that a sheepdog motif is used to remind people how to sheepdog protects the sheep from the wolves. The thin blue line flag was trademarked in 1993 and became more popular after September 11th, 2001, well before the advent of Black Lives Matter movement. However, mainstream media and Black Lives Matter often refer to the thin blue line flag as the Blue Lives Matter flag, as if it was created in opposition to Black Lives Matter movement. Please understand the thin blue line flag has nothing to do with Black Lives movement. And flying the thin blue line flag indicates respect and support of law enforcement and does not mean that Black lives do not matter. Law enforcement officers have incredibly difficult jobs. Do not let the ignorance or hatred of a few cancel this important symbol of community support for law enforcement. Folks, this is me. Please let that sink in. Do not put down our law enforcement for the few bad eggs that have no business ever having been sworn in. Have this governing body go back to the higher standards required to become a member of law enforcement. These people put their lives on the line for each and every one of us every time. They walk out their doors to take on their shift and whisper a prayer, or in some cases, a hope that they will come home safely to their loved ones at the end of that shift. Who are you going to call when you need help? Are you going to call Ghostbusters? By the way, Mr. Malik, you and those like you are spouting your hate signs, hate speech, supremacy, and all your other shite to a population that gets along very nicely for the most part. The majority of us are just trying to do the best we can together to survive the disastrous situation the far left of the elected government officials has deliberately put us into. I am sad to say that I am actually wondering how much money all of these people are racking in the name of your so-called equality. But somehow, I believe that you,
Diane.
Rebecca, and Pilar
Diane, your time is up. Thank you.
actually
Thank
believe
you,
it.
Diane.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, Dan. Please, go ahead. Of course. No problem. Okay. Next, we have Cindy Jostin, followed by Nancy, followed by Steve Petzold.
I have no complaints to all of you, but I do want to thank you always for having your communities back. I know each and every one of you care, and I appreciate that. So I will use this platform to speak to the people. By now you know where I stand on this evil, corrupt administration. For 2.5 years, they have been intentionally destroying Americans and everything America stands for. We are at war, but it's the war of good versus evil, and the evil has been unleashed in the White House. I am sure most see this by now, but are afraid to stand up. I am not afraid because I choose faith over fear. Evil is amongst us, and yes, there are some demons in this room. One refuses to stand for our flag and continues to promote hate, fear, and division in our community. Our children are dying daily. Crime and mental illness are out of control. Our youth is lost, confused, and depressed. Many disrespect our country, our law enforcement, and each other. Businesses struggling and cannot feed their families. We should be working on these issues together. But the people who actually voted for this to happen to us are the same people standing here focusing on hate symbols, transgender, and abortion clinics, and expecting the city council to bow to them. The same person has Black Lives Matter clenched fist tattooed all over his body. Let me remind you, the clenched fist is indeed a hate symbol, which is used with the communist movements that established oppressive systems along the Marxist lines. Many violent acts, including murder, looting, and destroying businesses, were endorsed by the Black Lives Matter. The devil wants hate and division, and we can all see the devil is showing its true colors. Moving forward, we must all work together as warriors in this battle. My hopes are that more people will choose faith over fear and stand up, at least for the sake of our children. Parents, please continue to have dialogue with your children on right from wrong. Teach them to respect our law enforcement. Inform them that law enforcement risk their lives daily to protect us. Most importantly, put God back in their hearts. They are being lied to, as this is what the devil is known for. The word of God is the truth. Remember, this is good versus evil, and never forget. And never forget, God always wins. Thank you, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Nancy, followed by Steve Petzold, followed by Carrie.
Good evening, City Council members, City Manager, and staff. My heart goes out to the victims and family and friends of the recent mass shooting in the city of Monterey Park. During my years at college at Cal State University, Los Angeles, where I received my undergraduate degree, I lived in Monterey Park with college roommates. It was a memorable part of my life, and I have friends that still reside there today. My prayers are with them. I'd like to address the prior speaker that spoke about people being forced to accept something. Last meeting, this same speaker called my pastor about his speech that they were lies. You didn't like his speech, and you insulted him, but you want other people to be sensitive to your cause. Who's calling the kettle black? On a lighter note, I'd like to thank you, the city, for having snap sports at the Cube. My daughter is autistic, and she loves participating in the adaptive ice skating program. She especially looks forward to dinner after her skate session at the grill. Thank you again for offering this rewarding program and allowing my daughter and I to enjoy these special evenings, strengthen our bond, and create beautiful memories together. I encourage other parents with special needs children to join this program called Adaptive Ice Skating with Snap Sports at the Cube. Ice skates and helmets are provided. God bless each and every council member, and God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Steve Petzel, followed by Carrie, followed by Santa Rivera.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I wanted to make several comments this evening relative to the items that we've covered, and that's I'm complete support of Restaurant Week coming up. SEV Feed SEV has done a lot of good work here in the community, and I've always been supportive of that. Interestingly, Judith Cassis grew up across the street from me in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we didn't know each other until she contacted me via Facebook saying, there's got to be only one Steve Petzel that I grew up from. So the work that she's doing, now that I've met senior status, I may engage her skills in book writing, and I can tell the truth about what's going on here in Santa Clarita. Diana Boone is a rare gem here in the city of Santa Clarita. She always took my phone calls and returned my emails regarding the disc golf course, and certainly I would like to hear a progress report from the Parks and Recreations Department, because I don't know how many months ago it was that you negotiated a deal with SCV Water to expand that area, and we are seeing no progress that I'm aware of. The fence is still there. There's no activity. The wood chip piles are still there, and they're expanding. There's large muddy areas between on the third basket. So I would ask you to call on the Parks and Recreations Department to give you a full report about what the progress is going on there. If this were pickleball, it would have been done yesterday. Pickleballers get everything they want in this city. And the disc golfers seem to end up in the back of the line there. So if there's one thing I'd like to see that. This Michael Cruz deal, the CVRA, that is an abomination to this city, given that we're talking about judging Martin Luther King Day. I don't know how anybody can go to Martin Luther King Day and vote for a CVRA settlement. That is completely a race-based item in which we have no idea where these areas are that are going to give Hispanic or Latino voters an opportunity to vote for a member of their community. So to the extent that you're actually holding out, I actually would encourage you to hold out. And let's have a full community discussion about what's going on with CVRA before you adopt any maps in this community. And with that, I wish you a good evening.
Thank you, Steve. Next, we have Carrie, followed by Santa Rivera.
I just want to give praise and honor to Jesus Christ, because that's my God and I worship him as God. And I just plead the blood of Jesus over this meeting. I want to talk a little bit about Planned Parenthood and why I feel it's not a good idea to put Planned Parenthood in Santa Clarita. Just a little back history. October of 1916 in New York basically began as the nation's first birth control method. New York legalized abortion in 1970 in Syracuse, New York. They offered the first abortion service, and in 73, the Supreme Court ruled to favor abortion rights through Roe v. Wade. 11 years later, on a personal note, I was conceived, and Planned Parenthood strategically, if you look at where they're placed, predominantly in minority and black neighborhoods. A little bit of a background about the woman who founded Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, wrote a letter to a medical physician by the name of C.J. Gamble regarding her plans and intent to divide races through offering separate physicians for blacks and separate physicians for whites. Margaret openly and bluntly stated that Negro physicians were to operate on other Negro patients, but she insisted that all Negro physicians be trained to follow the white medical science and protocols that they came up with. When any medical facility were to hire Negro physicians for Negro patients, she felt that it would be easier for black patients to be controlled by white doctors if they listened to Negro doctors practicing under white physicians' control. Margaret also felt strongly that black preachers or ministers should also be trained under only white leadership as well. She was very, very, very adamant about what she put in her documents and didn't hide anything. Margaret's plan was called the Negro Plan of the South. Culturally, the black community understands and knows that abortion is a direct attack on human life. Even people in the continent of Africa, the African community, by tradition and cultural standards believe abortion is a direct attack on human life. If you can convince one woman in Africa, in any tribe, even one black American individual that is aware of the importance of reproducing and keeping our families and future generations alive, I'd be hard pressed to see who would vote for that. But what woman in her right mind would want to terminate a pregnancy? The first sign of life is evident with that spark when obviously the sperm meets the egg. It takes two forms of life. Life is in the blood. It takes live organisms to come together to create and procreate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our last speaker for now, Ms. Santo Rivera.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year's, and congratulations. I wanted to kind of rediscuss an email that I had sent out. I didn't get a chance to speak last time, and I just wanted to remind you that I think we should figure out ways to work with farmers and use the goats to help with all this brush that's it's beautiful and green right now, but it's all gonna turn into some dry brush pretty soon. I think that would be a natural alternative to taking care of that. I also wanted to remind you of the flashing lights at the main intersections when there's medical or police officers going through there. I noticed that there's a lot more traffic as the years go by, and I think it would be really helpful. Some people just can't see or hear it. I wanted to reiterate, and I'll never stop mentioning, that we need to continue to protect our children. We need to protect them from those who have bad intentions. We need to start teaching the importance of family, and we need to remind them that we might not be able to change we won't be able to change others, but we can have an influence and in the matter of what we allow to come into our lives, what we are okay with. As a family, we need to be stronger, and we need to continue to share that. I feel that the city can have a large role in helping with maybe certain programs where we could get together with families and help them learn to bring up topics that can be a little uncomfortable. I mean, the schools want to talk to children at a young age about sex, and I think that families are the ones, it should start at home. And if it's uncomfortable, instead of a teacher doing it, I think we need to help the public and our community reach out and speak to our children about those types of topics. Speaking of protecting our children, I feel that we need to figure out ways of separating more and as much as possible from LA County and the city. We already know the gig is up. We were lied to by these people that were handing down these quote-unquote mandates that were supposed to be for our health and for the community. It didn't work, we know this, and we need to protect our children from letting that happen. Las familias que están ahí, por favor, cuiden a sus hijos, fíjense bien lo que están aprendiendo en la escuela, hablen con ellos y no dejen que las gentes de afuera los tengan influencia de nada, de ustedes lo que no les gustan, y fíjense bien lo que están pasando en las clases, porque los maestros a veces no pueden y ni hasta tienen la ley que no deben de hablar con ustedes de cosas que son bien importantes y que uno de padre tiene que saber. Thank you. Good night.
Santa, thank you. That concludes our public comment period. City Manager, any comments tonight?
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. Just a few comments. In regards to the bike lanes on Sierra Highway, the gentleman will be happy to know that the non-motorized transportation plan does have in it future plans to add the on-street bicycle lanes that will accommodate what he's looking for. The county also has, which has a part of that jurisdiction of Sierra Highway, also has plans to add bike lanes on the street as well. So I don't know what the timing of that is, but I'll have Joel Bareng, our traffic engineer, reach out and let him know the answer to that question. In regards to Mr. Petzold's comments, I'm not sure the pickleballers would agree that they get everything. It's a tough balance, but as Mr. Petzold is well aware, he came here several months ago, and we had plans to adjust the disc golf course. He asked for additional accommodations. The council asked us to look into it. We did that, and we built those accommodations into the new project. As you're aware, the contractor that was originally awarded the contract to do Central Park went out of business, so we went through somewhat of a lengthy process of negotiating with the bonding company and getting a new contractor on board, which has happened, and that should be moving very, very rapidly now that they're on board. In regards specifically to the fence, the contract has been routed, and we expect the fence line to be moved and those adjustments to be made within the next 5 to 6 weeks. And Mr. Petzold will be very happy to know that there's a lot of volunteer opportunities that we're looking for in terms of assisting with that project, as well as the progress and maintenance of the disc course. So that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, with that, we will move on to the committee reports. Councilwoman West, we'll start with you. All right.
I just want to take a minute to talk about something that supersedes all other things that affect us generally, outside of maybe weather and, just family, but ties into our life, and that's our hospital. And our hospital was there for us all through COVID, and people worked double shifts, and they did an incredible job. And I know the city was very aware of their work. And our hospital is truly a community hospital. It's not operated by a mega corporation throughout the United States. This is a community hospital. There are things that they need to improve over that they want to improve that will facilitate opportunities that will help every single one of us when we need it. And I'm very pleased at the hard work that they put in, and I would really like to see us look at the potential of how we can help the hospital. I'd like to agendize that, have staff meet with their staff. They need a grant. They need some money. And I don't know exactly what that figure is, but I do know there's very important work they need to do. And I know that when you take a community hospital and you take its ability to do all the surgeries that are elective, it really put them in a very tough spot. And so we've now kind of come out, hopefully, of all this lockdown and the COVID issues, and let us get back to normal. And I think getting back to normal also means getting our hospital back to normal and getting them on the pathway to doing the things they need to do to help literally the opportunity for every single person that needs their service. If you need a hospital and you need it quick, as I have a couple times, they're who we have, and they're not over a hill, they're right here. And I know that our paramedics, our fire department, everybody does a really good job. Hospital is there. They're working hard for us. And I'd like to see our staff put their shoulder to that and see how we can help them.
So along those same lines, I might remind everybody that the population in Santa Clarita is growing very rapidly.
Yeah.
Very rapidly. If you haven't seen it, there are 21,000 new homes that are being built just the other side of Magic Mountain. And guess whose hospital they're all going to use? They're going to use Henry Mayo. We have to do our best. I agree with you. If you want to agendize that, I certainly would support that. Anyway, just wanted to say that.
Thank
now, the big I do.
Did you have any more? I'm sorry. Councilwoman, did you have any more?
No, we just
comments
need
tonight?
to give direction to Ken if we're.
I see consensus then for staff to move forward. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other items?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay, very good. Thank you. Okay. Councilmember Miranda.
The big I do. This is a big week in my life. This is about me. No. This is a big week in my life because on Friday, I celebrate 49 years of marriage.
God bless Virginia.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. As Virginia would say, she's a saint. So, in order of, not necessarily because I'm celebrating my anniversary, but there's the big I do going on in the city coming up real soon for Valentine's Day. Are you looking to get married but want to skip the stress of wedding planning? Be part of the Big I Do. All this all-inclusive wedding ceremony on Valentine's Day, multiple couples will say I do at the same time. This inaugural event is part of the International Award-winning City Hall Ceremonies program. Couples can sign up now and tie the knot on Tuesday, February 14th, at one of the amazing city facilities. Each couple and their guests will enjoy one-of-a-kind celebration, which will include a marriage license, a certificate, private table for the couple and guests, brunch, a wedding cake, champagne toast, professional photographer, music, dancing, and much more. Whoa, is that cool? Can I have my wedding ceremony money back? In addition, each couple that signs up by January 26, now that's in 2 days, will be entered to win custom designed wedding bands, courtesy of Classic Designs Jewelry. To sign up, go to santa-clarita.com/weddings or call 661-286-4053 for more information. Get married. I recommend it.
Thank you, Councilmember Miranda. Councilwoman McLean.
Yes, hi. For this next year, I plan to continue to attend the virtual probation oversight committee meetings to loudly object to using Camp Scott as a violent offenders prison. Also, I wanted to thank everyone who participated in our Martin Luther King Jr. Unity Walk. It was upbeat, it was inspiring, diverse, and representative of our community. It was extremely enjoyable to me, and I saw a lot of smiling faces. We recently had a great community homeless task force meeting, and I want to thank Cameron as the chair and our staff for putting together several great presentations. And one of the presentations that stood out is the number of our students who are attending school but are homeless. Funds are given to schools through various state and federal programs and grants, but not through Measure H funds, for which we all pay taxes and contribute millions of dollars and get back only a small portion of our tax dollars that we pay into it. Most of it going to the city of Los Angeles and the county. We still have no word as to when the Blue Ribbon Task Force recommendations will be discussed at a Board of Supervisors meeting. We recently had a North County Transportation Coalition JPA meeting, and I was elected to serve as vice chair. We discussed Governor Newsom's budget cuts for local transit projects, which he cut by $2.5 billion. And I have been a little bit vocal at the San Fernando Valley COG, of which I am the chair, and also at the Southern California Association of Governments, and now at NCTC. All these organizations hopefully will get together. The COG and NCTC voted to direct their staff to prepare a strong letter and to coordinate with Skag and our other North Corridor cities, saying that California needs to keep its commitment to commuters that rely on public transportation. They all want us to get rid of our cars and all go electric, but they do not give us an alternative in order to get to where we need to go. So I'd like to ask my fellow council members for consensus to authorize our staff to coordinate and join in by writing our own letter to go in with the others regarding making our voices heard to stop taking our transportation dollars away for our local projects. So
You're looking for a letter from the council for restoring that funding, to at least ask for it. Am I understanding that
and
correctly?
to coordinate with the other organizations, Southern California Association of Governments, Skag, the NCTC, and such.
Okay. City Manager.
Yes, if I could just get clarification. When you talk about coordinating with the other agencies, what exactly are you looking for?
Well, we would write our letter, and we would perhaps, talk to Arthur and see how we can put it into a package with our letter and the other ones to go to the governor's office. And also, it was suggested the Secretary of Transportation.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Council.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Is that all?
Oh, that's it.
Nope, no problem. Thank you. Okay, we've had a busy couple of weeks. A few weeks ago, the Signal put on the Narcan Town Hall. It was very well attended. I want to thank my council members who are here at the dais. They were all here attending because they know how important this is. And Councilwoman West, you've been on the front of this since last year as mayor, so your support there has been great as well. Our supervisor was there along with a number of medical professionals, and we got a lot of perspectives on what we're seeing with fentanyl and now with Narcan. Not just from city government standpoint or county government standpoint, which we did. Supervisor Barger was with us as well, but from the ADA's office with ADA Hitami was there with us, our fire chief, our police chief. It was really a great event, and I would encourage everybody. I thank the Signal and Richard Budman for putting that on, and I encourage anybody to go look and watch. There was a lot of great information about fentanyl and the Narcan issue. We did have the West Creek Park ribbon cutting for the new inclusive playground. I've had nothing but positive reviews come out of that. I mean, as soon as we cut the ribbon, the kids pushed us all out of the way so they could get in there and use the facility, and it was fantastic to see. It was very well done, so my congratulations to staff and to council for bringing that together. At the SCV Water Agency, I had the opportunity to say thank you to outgoing Water Board member R.J. Kelly for his 19 years of service. And we got to give a thank you as well to Donna Gladback, who was the wife of Jerry, who literally was the king of water. I mean, there's not a man who had no more respect in the water business than Jerry did. It was a tragic loss that we had this past year, but it was great to have that opportunity to recognize him. I had an opportunity to speak with SCV Rotary. That was a lot of fun, and we had a ribbon cutting just yesterday for Mariah Medical College, and I want to congratulate the Chamber and Megan Jackson for your ribbon cutting and for getting open. You know, she does a lot of training for vocational nurses, and as she pointed out, here in California, there's a shortage, they say, of probably 30,000 nursing opportunities. And so this is just one new avenue that the programs for nursing have been very impacted, and she's provided a new opportunity right here in Santa Clarita for people who want to get on that track and get involved in nursing to do so. And I think she talked about programs as short as 15 months that you can get in and start working with patients. So it was fantastic to see and see that get open. And then lastly, I just want to give my very deep condolences for one of the losses we had recently of a sheriff's deputy and a first responder. It was absolutely tragic for a veteran gentleman who served 2 tours serving this country who tragically is gone. And it's just, while there's still details coming, it just want to tell everybody out there that it's never too late to speak to people if you're hurting. It's never too late if you find yourself struggling. Reach out. Don't fight these things alone. There are people in this community that spend their lives trying to help others. And so it's our hope that we never have to see these tragic losses again. So from myself, the council, and to our sheriff's department, we say goodbye and our condolences to that man. I've seen nothing but positive messages of remembrance about him on Facebook. And so I was sad to see that, and I want to share my condolences with him. And on that then, that closes committee reports. We'll move forward to agenda item number 1, the first public hearing for this evening. So this is the time and place now for the public hearing for Master Case 19-115, a request to modify the pre-annexation agreement for the Tesoro del Valle development. The hearing is now officially opened. We will receive comments, questions, and any oral protest from any interested person. When all comments have been received, the hearing will be closed. City Clerk, can you please report on the hearing notice?
All notices required by law have been provided.
Great, thank you. City staff will now make a presentation, followed by presentations from the applicant, after which the public will have an opportunity to comment. So with that, I'd like to turn the time over to Patrick LeClaire, Senior Planner, for a presentation on the item. Patrick, take it away.
All right, good evening, Mayor Gibbs, a member of the City Council. I'm Patrick LeClaire, Senior Planner with the City's Planning Division. This item before you this evening is a modification to the pre-annexation agreement for the Tesoro del Valle annexation. First, as you know, the Tesoro del Valle community is now part of the city of Santa Clarita as it was annexed on November 14th, 2022. This includes nearly 1,100 existing residential units along with 820 units approved to be built within the Tesoro Highlands development. On May 24th, 2022, the City Council approved the pre-annexation agreement between BLC Tesoro LLC and the City of Santa Clarita. This agreement addressed a number of items, including the completion of the widening of the Copper Hill Bridge over San Francisquito Creek by the developer. This original language from the May 2022 pre-annexation agreement required that the bridge widening construction begin prior to the issuance of the first residential certificate of occupancy, and that the bridge be completed within 9 months, as you can see on the screen. In order to address construction and supply delays, as well as to provide certainty to the prospective home builders in the Tesoro Highlands project, the developer has requested that this language be modified. The proposed new language you can see on the screen would still require the bridge to begin construction prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy. This creates an urgency to start the construction of the bridge widening. However, the proposed language would better allow for and also cap the issuance of certificates of occupancy to a total of up to but no more than 342 homes until the bridge widening is completed. Staff feels that this revised approach will provide the certainty needed to prospective home builders while meeting the city's objective to have this bridge completed in an efficient timeline. With that, staff recommends that the City Council conduct the public hearing, find the modification to the pre-annexation agreement exempt under CEQA under the common sense exemption, and execute the modified pre-annexation agreement. This concludes my comments. I, the Public Works staff, and the developer are here for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just one additional change. The proposed language of the agreement is included in your packet starting at agenda page or packet page 27. Just to clarify, the change that is being advocated by staff is listed in that document. Just to make clear, since it's already a signed agreement, if this is approved tonight, the new agreement will begin with the words amended and restated pre-annexation agreement, just for clarification.
And City Attorney, in the packet, the original agreement is in here as well as the modified one. Is that correct?
I don't know that yes, it is.
Okay, great. Thank you. Very good. Thank you, Patrick. City Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on this item? Oh, okay. Mr. Hunt Brawley.
Good evening, Mayor Gibbs, members of the City Council. I'll be brief. First, I want to thank staff, Mike Henway, Jason Crawford, and Patrick Leclerc, and the whole planning staff, and accommodating what had become an increasing issue with supply chain issues and costs of construction, and the fact that this wasn't a next project where the original condition of approval just required us to begin the construction of the bridge before any certificate of occupancies. This is a great compromise. It will allow us to close our initial lots with Lennar and Toll Brothers, who have contracted for the entire project, and make sure this project goes forward. The bridge does get widened. The additional benefits this project brings to the community, which also includes almost 1,000 acres of open space, goes forward. So we're very, very happy with the compromises and making this change. Appreciate staff and urge the council to adopt it as we go forward. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, sir. So with that, I'm now closing the public comment portion. And I'll say if there are any questions for staff and the applicant or any discussions by members of the council on this item. Councilmember West?
I move that we go forward with a proposed action.
And I'll second. I just want to say congratulations to staff. It's been a very long process, very complicated area, and the things that have been done to save a great deal of environment, to interconnect a trail system for the whole community that takes you literally from center of the city all the way across and up into the national forest is amazing. The creek is now starting to see us with open space all along the creek. There's an equestrian community up there, and the saving of the Harry Carey estate, which is part of our filming legacy and history, is remarkable. And I know the community will continue to enjoy it and even have more special things available to them. Won't they, Ken? Yes. And we're very excited to say that I know it was a lot of work, but I think it was well worth it, and I'm glad that we've come to very positive conclusions, and it's a very important move. So I'm proud to second and thrilled that everybody worked so hard. Thank you.
Councilwoman McLean, any comments? Okay. I only had one question, if I could. Under the new H2, the phrase is used, construction of the bridge widening commences. I just wanted to clarify, what does that mean in terms of commencing?
So they would have to work with our Public Works Division to obtain all the necessary permits and begin construction on the bridge. So they would work with our Public Works staff, and they would coordinate the beginning of the construction with our Director of Public Works.
Very good. Okay. With that, we have a first and a second to move the recommended action. And City Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Miranda?
Yes.
Councilwoman McLean?
Yes.
Councilmember West?
Aye.
Mayor Gibbs?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And moving on to new business item number 2. The Los Angeles County Affordable Housing Solutions Agency Board of Directors recommendation. City staff will now make a presentation, after which the public will have the opportunity to comment. So with that, I'd like to turn the time over to Intergovernmental Relations Officer, Macis Hagobian. Please take it away.
Gibbs, members of the City Council, Macis Hagobian, Intergovernmental Relations in the City Manager's Office. The Los Angeles County Affordable Housing Solutions Agency was recently established through state legislation. The legislation's intent is for the agency to increase the supply of affordable housing, in the county by providing funding and technical assistance for new affordable housing production. The legislation prescribes a 21-member board of directors, which includes a North County and San Fernando Valley regional representative that is to be elected by the Los Angeles County City Selection Committee. The recommendation before you is to discuss and recommend a member of the City Council who will then be nominated at an upcoming City Selection Committee meeting to represent the North County and San Fernando Valley subregion. This concludes my comments, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Before we discuss, did we have any speakers on this item?
There are no speakers, Mayor.
Oh, very good, thank you. Okay. Any canceled comments or questions? Councilmember Miranda.
I'm concerned as there's a new committee with how many, 21 members, I think you said. Is this really necessary? It's a rhetorical question. But why are we doing this, I guess, is my question.
Councilmember Miranda, to answer your first question, the Senate bill that Ms. Cease referenced, the council took a no position on. We were in the minority of that, and the legislation passed. It is now an agency that will be formed. It will be functioning in LA County. It does have the ability to put on the ballot tax measures and so on and so forth. So when Mayor Gibbs was contacted, it seemed that even though the council wasn't on board with the creation of it and probably doesn't necessarily agree with the purpose of it, it's better to be involved if we can, as opposed to being subject to whatever it comes up with and ends up being another tax ballot that takes money from Santa Clarita, and we have no advocacy or any input on it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Councilwoman McLean.
No, I see in the agenda item that you expressed an interest. As mayor, it's probably the best to have our mayor do it. I don't know if we want to keep that, if we want to do it on a rotating basis and have the mayor be each mayor as they take office, be a part of it, or just to have you do it. But for now, I'll nominate you as the representative.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to comment. I'm not in favor of having a rotating position. I mean, I think if you want to do it, you do it as a council member, not necessarily as mayor.
I agree with you, Bill. This is going to be complicated, and it's not something you walk in each year and a new person says, oh, yeah, okay, I get it. It's going to be tough, and I think you're the right kind of person to do it. After all, you launch rockets, so.
But I appreciate it. The only question I guess I'd ask staff is, does the legislation specify if we are selected? Because I know we still have to go through and get voted through for the
league through the
selection.
Exactly.
But so if I'm nominated and we secure those votes and get selected, can we just change out? I don't think that we can, and I think the legislation doesn't allow that.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right. Okay, and we need to probably advocate for him with the league's selective, because I'm sure there are other candidates as well, and it's very political. In order, once we want you to be our representative, it's going to be political. So, if you need to speak to others, maybe I can speak on your behalf as well. I don't know. Maybe you could put something together so that we don't just leave it to chance.
No, thank you, Councilwoman. It's important. I think the legislation, it spells out the city of Santa Clarita in it as well. We are a specific entity mentioned. So that was one of the reasons I felt it important that we look to try to get a representative.
Well, that takes
a
lot of the politics out of it. You're spelled out. So I think it's appropriate for the mayor to do it.
Well, it takes the politics out, except with the league.
Yeah. Understood. But we had a motion for
And a
staff to move
second.
forward for myself. Very good. City Clerk, could we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember West?
Aye.
Councilwoman McLean?
Yes.
Councilmember Miranda?
Yes.
Mayor Gibbs?
Aye. Very good. Thank you, Council. Okay, moving on to new business item number 3 for the council committee appointments. Before we discuss the appointments, did we have any speakers on this one, City Clerk?
There are none.
Okay. No speakers, very good. So with that, if it's all right with council, I'll just start running down the list and just hit all of them there. And if there's any that we need to discuss afterwards, a poll, just please let me know. So the first one is for the League of California Cities. I'd like to keep Delegate McLean and alternate Smythe. For the City Selection Committee, per the Government Code, this will now become Mayor Gibbs as the delegate with Mayor Pro Tem Smythe as the alternate. For San Fernando Valley Council of Governments, Councilwoman McLean is the delegate. Alternate would be Mayor Pro Tem Smythe. For the Groundwater Sustainability Agency, delegate would be Mayor Gibbs. Alternate will be Councilmember West. For the North Los Angeles County Transportation Coalition, we'll keep this as well with McLean and Gibbs as serving as the delegates. For the California Joint Powers Insurance Authority, Councilwoman McLean, I'd like to put you there if you're okay with that. All right, there we go. I like the excitement, I can feel it. For the SCV School Trustees Association, delegates will be Councilwoman McLean, Councilmember Miranda with Mayor Pro Tem Smythe as the alternate. San Gabriel Mountains Community Collaborative, delegate will be Councilmember West, alternate Councilwoman McLean. For the Sanitations District, the first director has to be the mayor per the code, so that'll be myself. The second director will be Councilmember West. Councilmember McLean will remain as the alternate. For the Southern California Association of Governments, Councilwoman McLean will serve as our delegate. For the Santa Clara River Watershed Area Steering Committee, I will stay on as delegate. For the Budget Committee, this now becomes myself, Mayor Gibbs, and Mayor Pro Tem Smythe. And for the alternate, we'll make Councilmember Miranda. For the Development Committee, we'll stay with Mayor Gibbs and Councilmember West, with Councilwoman McLean serving as our alternate. For the Economic Development Committee, it'll be Mayor Gibbs and Councilmember Miranda, with Councilmember West as the alternate. Film and Tourism, Councilmember Miranda, Councilmember West as the delegates, Councilwoman McLean as the alternate. Legislative Committee will stay with Mayor Pro Tem Smythe and Mayor Gibbs as delegates, with Councilmember West as the alternate. The Public Safety Committee will still be Mayor Gibbs, Councilmember Miranda, with Councilmember West as the alternate. And staff, if we could, I'd like for that one to meet in the coming months to have a discussion about some of the things we have with public safety going on here in the community, so I want to thank you for that. Waste Diversion Recycling Committee, we have Councilwoman McLean and Councilmember West serving as delegates, with Councilmember Miranda remaining as alternate. For the CMEX Committee, we have Councilmember West and Mayor Gibbs as the delegates. Councilwoman McLean will serve as the alternate. The Community Services Grant Ad Hoc Committee, we will have Councilmember West and Mayor Pro Tem Smythe as the delegates, with the alternate now being Councilmember Miranda. The Downtown Newhall Specific Plan will stay Councilwoman McLean, Councilmember West. Mayor Gibbs serves as the alternate. The High Speed Transportation Committee, Councilmember Miranda and Councilwoman McLean will stay as delegates, and the alternate will remain Councilmember West. For Homelessness, we'll keep Mayor Pro Tem Smythe and Councilwoman McLean. Councilmember Miranda will stay as the alternate. For the Library Ad Hoc, we'll keep Councilmember West and Councilwoman McLean. Alternate is Councilmember Miranda. And for Senior Issues, we have Councilmember Miranda, Councilmember West, Councilwoman McLean as the alternate. And then the last one here, the Whitaker-Burmite Committee. I had a question for council with the information that we've received as the site now being kind of given that clean bill of health. Do we want to keep this committee on, or is there a reason to keep it anymore now that the site has been remediated after 20 years?
The only reason I would want to keep it as it is because if it's purchased and there's someone who wishes to develop it, I'd still like to be a part of that.
The
Whitaker-Burmite, I know it says multi-jurisdictional ad hoc committee. However, perhaps we could change that to, I don't know, seeing it through at the process of possible development.
So you'd be asking for the Burmite Committee that was originally the multi-jurisdictional for cleanup to now become a specific committee for the potential development of the site?
Just a thought.
It's not something, I don't know if that's something we would typically do, but I'll ask City Manager for comment if you would, please.
No, the concepts of ad hocs they're very specific in time and nature.
Okay.
when it was created as part of the multi-jurisdictional, it was created really for the cleanup. Dealing with the broader concept of land use probably does not qualify as a standing committee, would be an open committee, and most likely would be appropriate to go through the development committee.
Okie dokie.
I think you
Never
could
mind.
just leave it there for now and not worry about it.
I mean, I'm good either way. I don't know that it's
So
going
am
to
I.
serve a purpose,
Yeah,
but
if it serves a purpose, great. If it doesn't, let it fall by the wayside. It's been 20 years, it's cleaned up. Thank you, staff.
I mean, the important work's done.
The important work
So-
is done.
Councilmember Miranda.
If we can go back 4 pages to Southern California Association of Government.
Sure.
What page?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that I was asked to be the voting member of that group.
I believe you were.
Is that right?
Well, that was, I think, a
Councilwoman.
one-time thing.
What do you mean a one-time thing?
The clarification is,
Yeah.
Councilmember McLean was the regional council member, therefore served in that role. You were, I believe, the council selected you to attend the conference and be a voting member at the conference on whatever the topics were at that conference. So you're not listed as a delegate because on Skag, there's only one member. They don't allow a delegate, so that's why it says none, but the council did delegate the conference responsibilities to you as the council member to be that voting member.
Okay. And so there's no alternate,
Unfortunately, no.
and I still have to go to the meetings.
Well, you're on the
All
you're
right,
on the
no,
committee.
I'm
No,
good.
you are, just to clarify, you're on the committee for the economic development through San Fernando Valley COG, I believe, right? Yes.
Yeah, San
Yes.
Fernando Valley COG.
Yes, so that, you're part of that.
Okay.
Doesn't mean you can't go.
I just want a clarification. I want to know what I'm responsible for and not responsible for, and I'm okay with it.
Understood. So you're okay with how it sits then, Councilmember? Okay, very good. And then, so the last question I guess I asked, do we want to keep the Whitaker Permite ad hoc? I would be happy seeing it removed, but if the council would like it to stay, you can stay.
I'd be happy to see it removed too. The
I
less
agree. Let's
bureaucracy
just
we have,
remove
the better.
Okay, very good.
It's confusing to people that don't know it's not cleaned
I
up.
know the city manager's going to be bummed with one less committee, but we'll all get through it together. Very good. So with those changes, can I ask for a motion from the council?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, very good. City Clerk, we have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Miranda,
Yes.
Councilmember West,
Aye.
Councilwoman McLean,
Yes.
Mayor Gibbs.
Aye. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. With that, we are now moving to the consent calendar today. And I believe we had some speakers on that, as well as some questions from Councilwoman McLean. So we'll start with the speakers, if that's okay. Okay. Not a speaking, just written? Okay. Very good. Thank you. Okay. Miss Diane Zimmerman, you're speaker number 1, number 2, and number 3. We'll start with item number 7, number 8, and then number 14. Yeah, but you get 3 minutes each.
Number 7, the fiscal year audit. The PUN Group LLP gave the city an unmodified clean audit. They must be joking with us at our expense. No questions as to how our tax dollars were and are being spent, none. There are no questions as to how this council has determined to spend taxpayer dollars, no questions at all. Just one approval that should have been questioned. Those speed bumps on Arbelia off of Shadow Pines that have been spoken about earlier. Every taxpayer in that community pays $100 a year for 10 years. We all pay for any repairs. That's a fact, Mr. Striplin. I have my paperwork. Council members, please give us a show of hands, please. If you actually did what you were requested to do and drove through these horrendous speed bumps yourselves to see what the majority of the residents are so upset about. I know that Councilmember Marsha McLean has already honored our request. The majority of those residents want them removed, or at the very least, most of them removed. Once again, I urge you to drive that route yourselves. The next step will be a very highly publicized petition, which is what is required if you don't take steps. We have to have 2/3 of the people in that neighborhood sign a petition and to get this thing going. If you had an experience here for yourselves with those who visit the people that live in that neighborhood and endure those speed bumps, and believe me, I've been there several times because, as you know, my dear friend Streets Glenda lives in that area. Emergency police, fire department, ambulance vehicles, very, very not good for them because, first of all, the bumps are higher than most that I've seen. In fact, they're higher than the ones on my way here. The residents who voted for these speed bumps, I can't believe they were given a real clear picture of the consequences. Whoever voted to approve those speed bumps, as they are, had to be in a hurry to get the subject off their to-do list. There is no excuse for that poor decision. Sorry, Ken, Mr. Striplin, I have a few more things to say to you, but I will refrain from them. Your inference that the other speaker and myself were not telling the truth or that we were very misinformed was pretty sad on your part at the last meeting. Mr. Miranda, you still unfortunately owe us an apology for something really horrendous that you did, and that's all we really wanted was for you to take it back and speak out that you were wrong in having posted that edited video of several of us, making us look like racists when there is absolutely no way if you look at that. No. All right. Okay, that's that one.
Diane, number 8, agenda.
Number 8.
Agenda 8.
Library trustees. After me and my pretty hefty number of others started looking into what is going on in our libraries over this past year, we are all extremely concerned about the subject matter being approved for the children and young adult sections of the libraries. Also, the books on display at eye level for small children to see. Sometimes one picture is truly worth 1,000 words. And a lot of what we saw would appall most parents no matter what gender they feel themselves to belong to. Please put the time in needed to check these appointments out thoroughly, please, because the libraries are considered safe havens for everyone, and I'm afraid we really saw a lot of evidence that they're not. That's it for that one. Number 14, Library Code of Conduct Review. You'll have to pardon me, I have to look into this a little more, but the phrase that reads, waive the reading of the text and consent to read by title only, as listed on agenda, passed to second reading and determined ordinance is exempt from CEQA. What's CEQA? Guidelines? The CEQA guidelines, Title 14, Division 6, Chapter 3 of the California Code of Regulations, are administrative regulations governing implementation of the California Environmental Quality Act. I do not pretend to know what this means, as we should all probably look deeply into this before moving forward. It sounds as if it will be pushing the green agenda brainwashing that is occurring in our country today. You know, no fossil fluids, get rid of gas stoves, go all electric, drive electric cars, give up meat, and so on and so forth. Again, the majority of our United States population and the population of other countries as well completely disagree with these so-called save the planet theories. Please put any vote on this off until everyone reads the text. Let's not be like Nancy Pelosi. We have to pass it so we can find out what's in it. Or like our Hart District, who voted for a curriculum for 2022 without reading the text because there wasn't time. Thank you very much, and I hope you listened, but I don't know, my heart goes down each time I look at some of you, and I don't feel like you are. Thank you very much.
And you had number 14 as well, or does that conclude your comments? That was 14? Nope.
That was 14.
Not a problem. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. We also had a written comment card in support of item number 12 for the Community Services and Arts Grants. And Mr. Sears wants to thank the wonderful Phil Lantis. So, Phil, thank you for being wonderful. Councilwoman McLean, you had a couple of comments as well.
Yes, I did. Thank you. On packet, page 83, agenda item 8.F, down at the bottom, last paragraph. Too many times when a project comes before the council or the planning commission and is approved, when you see the project actually built or finished, completed, it's different from what was originally approved. And I'm wondering if the same as we do with a CUP or an MUP, when there is a change to the approved final design of an art piece or whatever, I'm wondering if we can hear about it and see if there is that much of a change and if it's okay. So does this need to be added to the policy, or is that something we can just ask for?
Councilman, did you have, was there a specific example? I'm trying to think of some of the art projects we've had. I'm not trying to put you on the spot to remember one.
There was one done at the Canyon Country Community Center, which was different than I believe which was approved. I'm not positive if that's the one, but a lot of times. It not only happens for art projects, it also happens for when something's gone through the planning process and the project is done and it's quite different than what, after it's built, it's different than what was approved.
Okay. City Manager?
The art selection process, the council has a whole policy on how the council is notified as it relates to the RFP that goes out. So what we are soliciting from the artist specifically. And then once that is done, I believe the concept is then sent to the council. Unless the project is over $50,000, the council does not pick the art. The council has delegated that authority to the Arts Commission, which goes forward. So once it's selected, it's sent to the council. I'm not aware of any changes. There's certainly whatever is selected is what's built. So I'm not familiar specifically with art you're referring to, but once it's selected by the Arts Commission, we don't typically change it. The only time I know that something's changed and we brought that back to the council is when we had an issue with an art piece and the council made some modifications to it. So other than that, I'm not familiar with us changing it after the fact. And once again, the council doesn't actually select most of the art pieces. They're selected by the Arts Commission.
No, however, the language here says proposed alterations to the final design. The artist's contract will contain language specifying that no change to the approved final design may take place without written permission from the city. So obviously, it is something that comes up. All I'm asking for is if you say we don't have a say over art under a certain amount, but for that art that is over the certain amount, I'm wondering if we can't just be informed. That's all.
Yeah, we can do that, of course.
Okay, does it need to have language in here, or is that just something that will happen?
Whatever the council is comfortable with. I mean, we can make sure that if there's a substantial change to anything that has come to the council, we can certainly make sure that that goes back to the council. Do you want that in the form of just notification, or do you want that in the form of bringing the art piece itself back?
No. I know this council's take on not wanting to interfere with the art pieces and such, but I would just like to know what we're going to see if it's been changed. I just want to know about it.
Okay. Yes, we can do that.
Okay. And then on item 8K, agenda packet page 104, talking about deselection and refreshing of library materials. Wait a second, it's more, I'm sorry, it's above that, just above item number 7. Each time there is a concern or request to remove an item from the library collection, the city librarian or someone acting on their behalf will report the request to the American Library Association Office of Intellectual Freedom. And it goes on a few more words. The library committee, the ad hoc committee, should, in my opinion, hear about something if a small group wants to remove something from the library that for just a political reason or such. The library ad hoc committee does not meet very often. We have not met in a really long time. I would love to have a standing kind of a rule that we meet at least quarterly to get an update, not on this necessarily, but to get an update on what's going on, to be able to ask questions. If something like this comes up, I mean, it's pretty serious when a group can come in and say, I want that removed from the library. That's pretty serious. So I would like to have a report on that if and when it happens through the library ad hoc committee.
Mr. Mayor, the question I'd have then is, if we're going back to discussion committee, does the ad hoc have is that what the ad hoc was for? Was it for the formation of discussing, reviewing literature that may or may not be removed? I guess that'd be my first question.
Not necessary for that.
Memory serves, the library ad hoc committee was created when the city was taking over the library system from LA County.
Okay.
So the ad hoc was used as a sounding board on the creation, implementation, and development of the system back when we first took over from the county.
However, the city council is the board of directors of the library, and so I think it's important to have meetings and hear what's going on. Do we not have that on our committee list? Has that been?
To add the library ad hoc committee is on the list.
Right.
We typically will bring the committee together when there's an issue. If the council's prerogative is to have a more regular meeting of just updates, we can create an agenda, but if we don't bring them together, there's nothing really, unless there's specifically something the committee wants to see, we don't have anything to present to you. Specifically to your request or what you're asking, I think that's a policy decision of the council. The system, the way it's set up now, is to depoliticize the selection or removal of books. And so if the council wants to have a role in that, vis-a-vis either the ad hoc committee, which wouldn't be appropriate in and of itself unless you were going to be making recommendations to the council, then that changes the whole policy that we have here as it relates to looking at these books and making those determinations. Once again, the way it's set up now is an industry standard, so it depoliticizes the process and creates somewhat of an objective, non-political viewpoint. If that's a change in the policy, from the board of library directors, then that's something that we need to look deeper at this policy and look at changing the policy itself.
Well, I think we're making that more difficult than it needs to be. In this day and age of politicization of so much and so many, to allow a small group of people to be able to come in without the directors, the board, hearing about it and through the ad hoc committee, I think is not okay.
Well, I can tell you, I believe that's happened 3 or 4 times in the history of the library. So I don't think the council has received complaints about it. I don't think we've, at staff level, brought forward complaints about it. So I don't believe, it doesn't happen very often, very, very few and far between. But once again, if it's going to go to the ad hoc, then the ad hoc doesn't have the authority to make decisions or change that process. So it would be, what is the intent? If the ad hoc wants to make a recommendation and be an in-between portion of that, then we have to restructure the whole committee.
No, I think
it can't be an ad hoc committee.
Like I said, you're making it more difficult than it needs to be. I think the library ad hoc committee needs to meet when people email me with the fact that when they want to have a book and they can't have it, it's the same old story once again. I know there's a process to go through, but you can recommend a book and never hear about it again. And the only way you're going to know, and the librarian is going to know if there's a concern from the public, since we don't have an advisory committee anymore, we have the Friends of the Library. I think we need to meet. If you don't want to make it quarterly, then make it twice a year, but the library ad hoc committee needs to meet.
Okay.
And if you don't want to change this as a policy, that's fine. I don't care. I wanted to bring up the point.
Okay.
I would just say to the city manager, I think we have a wonderful library system. There will always be books that people want that maybe we haven't been able to get, and the librarians, when they know that there's books they need to get, they should put forward to staff that these books need to be brought in because, you know, the public is asking for them. Secondarily, I don't want to have you do meetings unless we need meetings. But the issue of books being taken out, I think the whole council would want to know that. So you should just, if there's an issue, it obviously hasn't happened very many times, then the council should talk about it. If books are being asked to be removed, and it doesn't sound like that's a very big problem. And I don't want to politicize anything, but if we need to know, then it's your job to tell us.
So then, based on that, do we need to have language in here that the council, or what do we need to do in order to make that happen?
I guess I'm not trying to be difficult, but I need clarity.
You're doing fine.
So if we are simply notifying the council when this process goes into place and a decision is made of what happened, if we're sending a memo to the council, that's easy. If we're
And to clarify, Ken, that's not something you need a policy change on for you to send a memo about books being
that's
removed.
the direction of the council. We can take
understood. Okay, thank you.
So if that's the direction, just simply provide us with a memo saying this book was brought up, it went through this process, this was the decision, and it's done, then that's easy to do. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's my thought.
Oh, if that's easy, then direction from the council is sufficient for us to.
That's fine, and then if we feel it's necessary, we can take it further.
Agree. Yeah, and I think that's the point. If there's actions that start happening that necessitate a policy change the council needs to make, then I think it's appropriate. But at the moment, it doesn't feel like it's necessary. But I understand your comments and why you're making them. So thank you.
Okay, just one other, one other short thing. There's two things regarding consequences for people who don't follow the rules. A couple of them kind of stand out to me, and I'm told that if we want to increase the suspension or the penalty, perhaps we could do that while not infringing on anybody's rights to use the library. But if someone is found to bring a weapon into the library, I think they need to have some consequences so that they don't do it again for a very long time. And I think it was, 1 month or something that they're suspended from library usage. How do we follow up to make sure that that person doesn't get angry and come back with a weapon and harm any one of our patrons? I'll leave that up to you to answer that question. And also vandalism. I think, it's 1 day? Or is that one? No, that's 1 month as well. I don't know. It just seems that the consequences for those serious offenses aren't enough, and I think we need to these days nobody has consequences anymore, and we need to uphold the rules and see how we can best do that. So how can we?
Yeah, please.
This may be, speaking of the ad hoc, if this is something that the council wants to dig into more and look at those and see whether you want to be more aggressive, that's certainly the prerogative. It's a policy question for the council. Obviously, we do look for legal in terms of what are the boundaries in terms of how far we can go on, banning and so on and so forth. But I think it's a policy issue of the council. So if this is one of those where the council wants to dig into a little bit more, we can pull the item and we can have a committee meeting and you guys can go through those consequences and give perspective, and we can bring that back to the council at a later date.
Well, the question I'd ask city manager is if in this particular example that Councilwoman McLean's discussing, if a patron is found with a weapon, I'm just assuming, but I assume the protocol wouldn't just be asking them to leave. Do we call for the sheriffs? Do we call for someone to investigate and come and intervene?
Yes, but let me have the librarian come and give more of a practical answer.
Hello. So in the case of a weapon or anytime there's a criminal action, we do contact the sheriff. We did work with the sheriff on this current municipal code change to look for things that would better help us work with them to get people removed from the library or banned from the library if they do those behaviors.
Oh, and thank you for that. But still, I like the city manager's suggestion that perhaps we do have a meeting regarding this and decide what we can and can't do legally in order to prevent this stuff from happening, because vandalism and weapons pretty serious.
Thank you, librarian.
Yeah.
And thank you, Ken. And let's just call this the way it is. There are now people walking into stores. They're breaking glass. They're clearing out jewelry. They're taking stock. They're walking out the door. Nobody stops them. Nobody touches them. Our sheriff's department is working day and night. They're rotating people through and charging them. They go in. It takes 2 hours. They're out the back door. We don't have the support that we need for law enforcement anymore. And that needs to change. And I'm not going to put upon the librarians anything that's going to put them at risk. If you want to keep weapons out of the library, you need to put medical detectors that go off and lock the doors immediately upon somebody entering with a gun. And I've said the same thing about city hall chambers. I mean, we're either going to have to allow society to figure out what they want and what they don't want. And really the only thing the librarian has is you just can't take out a book. I mean, it's very difficult to put staff in a position of having to reprimand or do anything that's going to cause problems. You can't station sheriff there all the time, and if you did, they'd still be restricted in what they can do. We've become very much going backward into the 1800s of the way law enforcement is treated, the way the behavior is. It's deadly. And I agree with Councilmember McLean that, you know, some of these things are just awful, but it's happening everywhere. It's not the libraries, it's every store. People are having problems everywhere because we don't have a district attorney that's willing to prosecute. And yeah, ladies, you are right. You worked really hard. We all did. And until there are consequences for behaviors, it puts all of us in extreme peril, everybody. Everybody. So I'm just saying the way it is because, you know, as a society, we're going to have to decide, are we going to have a sane and safe and rational society, or are we just going to let it run amok? And I can't argue with Councilman McLean's wanting it to be different and wanting consequences. We all want consequences. I worry about every single person that's out there trying to serve the public in a store by themselves somewhere at night, how they are going to get through whatever they're trying to do safely. It is a nightmare. And I think that you should probably talk to the library staff. What is it additionally they need for their comfort and for the safety of the patrons that are coming in with their children? Need to talk about it. But I can't sit here at the dais and think, oh, you need to do X, Y, Z. I don't know the answers to that. And I know law enforcement doesn't have all the answers right now because there's just no consequences.
Well, thank you for those comments. I totally agree, but we need to, I think, initiate more consequences for people who do this stuff. I don't want it on the librarian at all.
Well, who's it going to be on?
Well, they don't have a library card, right?
Ladies, how about then, Councilwoman McLean, how about this? City Manager, would it be possible, obviously the intervals and the dates and the lengths aren't pulled out of a hat. Could the council be provided information on how it comes about for the terms, what the process was, put that process together? If council still doesn't feel that it's providing enough information or feels it's adequate enough, then we can revisit calling another meeting about it to discuss the policy specifically to change it. But I feel uncomfortable being at the dais trying to change the dates of intervals on something when we don't know the process and the details that went in.
That's kind of why I think a meeting might be a good thing, just with the committee, and then bring it back to the council, or just discuss it rather than having to have the whole council do it if you don't.
Would it be okay then if we had staff provide the information for how this was all determined and the process they used, and if that isn't adequate to get you where their numbers are, then we look at calling for a more specific meeting about it.
Well, can we just ask the city attorney whether we have the ability to amend the consequences to be consequential? I'm pretty happy. I mean, I understand and I'm comfortable with how we come to vandalism and carrying a weapon, but do we want to?
Yeah, so I think that the issue of adjusting the penalties that have been proposed by staff is that staff did go through a process with law enforcement, with other stakeholders, with library staff as to what their experience has been. Certainly, if you want to change some of these numbers right now on the fly, you could do that. When you talk about make the consequence meaningful, I guess it depends on how many columns to the right you're going to move that number one. So if the number one goes from 1 day is the initial violation and you want to move it all the way over to 1 year, then I think we probably need a little more information to validate or justify that.
Yeah.
Also, when we're talking about weapons, I mean, that could be a pocket knife or, a Bowie knife, or that could be a handgun, or, I think there's degrees in there too. And to the extent that, possessing a weapon also implicates some of these other things like an assault, that's going to trigger a higher level of. So
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to change this stuff, I get that. That's fine. I just wanted to bring it up for discussion and to see, people do need to feel like there is consequences for stuff that they do that puts other people in danger and destroys property.
And this is your second go-round with this code of conduct. So you have one in place and staff has been implementing it, and these suggestions are made to make it easier and better for staff to implement. So there's nothing that precludes you from seeing how this rolls out and then making further changes if this is not working to the satisfaction of staff and the library patrons.
And one more point of information, I did just talk to the librarian, and in the process of putting together the matrix that you see, they did look at kind of the industry standards, what's out there, and according to Shannon, we actually are further along, more aggressive than what the industry standards are for library consequences. So we are pushing more than what is the norm for libraries.
Okay.
Good.
That's fine.
Councilman, thank you for your comments, and Councilmember West, thank you as well. Okay. With that, having no other speakers, I'll take a motion on the consent, please.
So moved.
Second.
First and second. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman McLean?
Yes.
Councilmember West?
Aye.
Councilmember Miranda?
Yes.
Mayor Gibbs?
Aye.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Do we have any more public speakers for this
No
evening?
more speakers.
All right, having no speakers, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we will adjourn tonight in honor of Cheryl Campbell. Thank you very much. Sorry.